This is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we're from across the pond.
Now, I don't normally see you on a Wednesday, Rich, but it's a bit of
True.
a different special episode, if you like, a different day today, because here is Remembrance Day, and with you it's
Veterans Day.
So
yes,
we thought it only right that we do a little 30-minute episode to try and explain or see what the differences are between there and here as regards to what occurs.
Yeah.
And our very own lovely Rich actually served in the military, so it only makes it right that we mark the day. Thank you for your service, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
So here, I mean, let's just start actually with you. You have the day off, right?
Well, it's a pretty much a holiday.
For everyone?
It's for everyone. It's considered a holiday, and it's just to celebrate the fallen during several wars that we've had over the decades, and to also, thank our fellow military personnel, women and men, on this day. So that's pretty much what Veterans Day is.
Okay, well, we don't have a day off. We still have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
But at 11 o'clock, we do observe a 2-minute silence. Do you do that?
I don't think we have a 2-minute silence. We have a lot of, we normally have a veterans parade.
Mm-hmm.
And they normally have like a tribute of some sort. The government would probably have a tribute. And then they have, different military movies on and so on and so forth for the day.
Yeah, we normally have a parade or something like that on the Sunday. So we have a Remembrance Sunday, and then on the 11th is the Remembrance Day. But yeah, it's 11th minute of the 11th hour. You have a 2-minute silence because that's when let me get this right, it is to mark the agreement of the end of World War One in 1918. That's when the message got across that it was over. 11 minutes past 11, the 11th day of the 11th month. So we observe a 2-minute silence.
Oh, okay. I like that. Well, in the beginning here, we had the taps, which is a reveille for the veterans. Most military, or I think everyone plays it.
What we just played at the beginning of the show?
Mm-hmm. With just a snippet of it, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have one as well. We're going to play that at the end of the show because ours is called The Last Post, because apparently that was it's not a tune. I can't remember what instrument it was played with, but somebody played it on an instrument to mark the end of the war. So that's why it's called The Last Post. So yeah, I'll play that when we've done our segment.
Yeah. Well, we're going to start off with, like she said, I served in the military. So thank you for your service, whoever's watching that was in the military, support military,
past,
military spouses,
now, current,
family, present.
future.
I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas, Main Support Battalion, Bravo Company, 25th 1st Cavalry Division. Also, I was stationed at Fort Bragg, the 942nd Forward Battalion, and my MOS was Transportation 88 Mike. I did 1.5 years in Iraq. My duties over there were to supply ammunition to all the surrounding bases in and around Iraq. And I want to thank you again for the fellow men and women who are still serving, and for the ones who sacrificed their lifetime to protect this country, home and abroad.
And can I just ask, what, not being rude, like what were you? Like a commander, officer, sergeant, what?
I was an E5, which is considered a staff sergeant.
E5, okay.
hmm It's a different rank. You start with, you start out as a private in the Army. You start out as a private, then you work your way up. And I ended my career at E5, which is a staff sergeant,
I think
which
maybe
is
we
pretty
should say
much
that.
you're in control, but yet I think me personally, as being in the military, I think being an NCO was a great opportunity because you weren't too far away from the soldiers. You worked hand in hand with them, but then you also took orders as well. So you
Okay.
took orders, you gave orders, and then you also worked hand in hand. So it was a great experience.
Maybe we should have just clarified at the beginning, like you guys just say the military, whereas here we say Army, Navy, RAF, Royal Marines. Like you normally specify which one you are, whereas you just literally
Well,
say military.
it's military as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, when you say you were in the military to someone, what they normally would ask is what branch you were in.
What
So there's
branch?
branches. I was in the U.S. United States Army.
Okay, and that's
So you
that's
have
when you say branch. That's what you mean, like Army,
yeah
Navy.
branches, which we have the Marines, um, Army, Marines, Air Force, and Navy. So those are the branches that we have. But all together, we all work as one. So that's why when you say military, it's all of us wrapped in one. But
Okay.
normally, if you say, "Hey, I was in the military," normally they would ask you what branch, and you normally say, "I was in the Army," you know,
Okay.
and they'll
Um,
ask you like, "What was your MOS?" Meaning, what was your duty while you was in there? Which is pretty much, I was transportation. I was a truck driver.
and why did you decide to join the military? Was it like a family thing, like somebody in your family before you was in the military, or what made you go there?
I, you know what made me go in is I just wanted a change of pace. I wanted to do something different besides my family. In my intermediate family, I'm the only one in my intermediate family to ever go into the military. So I've had cousins and grandparents and so on and so forth. But as my intermediate family, I'm the only one that went into the military.
If you could go back and do your time again, would you still go into the military?
I sure would. I learned a lot. I think what I can take away from the military is the discipline, um, the self worth that you gain, and the camaraderie that you because you meet different people from all over the world. So you get an opportunity to see different facets. Even when you go out of the country, you see things that you normally wouldn't see if you were home. So yeah, I would do it most definitely all over again. Yeah, it was a good experience.
Okay, so unlike today, people here would wear poppies like as a symbol of remembrance, and that is because in the battlefields, poppy was the only flower that grew. So they kind of, it's like a paper. I have, oh, I've got one. I should have wore it. Sorry. Um, it's like a paper flower and a green stem that you attach with a pin. Like, do you have anything symbolic that you have on Veterans Day?
Um, we have a lot of different symbolisms for military. We have the black ribbon for POWs. We have the yellow ribbon, and then you also have like the general flag. And then sometimes some cemeteries. I know we have a military cemetery here. They have people who put flags down. You can visit flowers, flags, yellow ribbons. You know,
Yeah, because the Queen always goes and puts a wreath of poppies on the memorial, and it's normally on the television. You can watch the whole parade. Obviously, Corona's here, so this year's been totally different.
yeah,
Um,
for us as well.
but I mean, the only other thing I wanted to touch on is what is it like there when people come out? Because I know here it's not. There's not actually. that much help for people that come out of the forces. Like a lot of them end up homeless or, committing suicide. That's quite, a big thing here. Is that the same thing there?
We have that, but we also have certain organizations, and we also have the VA.
I mean, don't get me wrong, we do have organisations that do a great job and help them, but I do know that it is on the news, often where people are just left homeless.
Yeah, so we have veteran assistance, veteran affairs, which they try to help as many people as they can. Also, we have the Wounded Warrior Project, but also I want to touch on an organization that I'm really fond of, and I'm actually wearing a T-shirt right now. I'm gonna just stand up. It's called
Okay, give us a little
Mission
part now.
22. It's called
Mission
Mission 22. United We Heal.
Mission 22.
Yeah,
What do they
because
do?
yeah, they started back in 2013, and they really focus on reducing suicide prevention. And
Why
the
is
reason why
that charity out of all of them? Why is that one that touched you the most?
because I've been overseas and I know what it's like, and I think a lot of people don't understand that soldiers, when you're away from home, the toughest time that I think soldiers have a hard time with is during the holidays. You got Thanksgiving here, you got Christmas, you got New Year's. A lot of the for a soldier is spent in the field. It's spent on the battlefield. It's spent in a tank. It's spent in a truck. It's spent, with 50 plus men that you have to, look out for. And those to me are the hardest times for a soldier when you're away from home and all you can do is have a phone call or write a letter. So, and then when people come home, some soldiers, not all, but some soldiers have a hard time adjusting back to, normal life because, we've been through a lot. So I really like Mission 22 because they have a lot of different organizations. Like I said, they got treatment programs, they got memorials, they got community events, they have resources for vets and their families. So it's a different approach. They even have um, I forgot they have one. I can't even pronounce the word, but they deal with horses and animals and camps, and they have a lot of stuff to ease you back into transition. And if you have help, they're willing to help. And I love them. I have T-shirts, I got bracelets, I got this sweatshirt.
How did you come to hear about them?
Like I said, I dealt with the VA. I am diagnosed with PTSD. Not as severe as some of my, cohorts or fellow soldiermen and women. But I got in touch with that program and it kind of helped me in a way. It's something different other than, a normal counseling session. So I support them. They're a really good source of avenue for soldiers who are out there and they just need someone to talk to, do something different, get a change of pace. So it works out pretty good. I really like it. So that being said, we have the VA Veterans Affairs here in and around the country that help with assistance veterans as well as soldiers.
And how long have you been out of the military now?
I've been out of the military since '06.
Okay.
January of '06, yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you still in touch with any of your fellow soldiers, or is it like
Yes,
school?
I
Like
do.
you make friends and then you go your separate ways?
No, you know what? That's another thing about the military. You sometimes you build lifelong friendships with people that you've served with. I have a numerous of friends who are now used to be my soldiers who are now surpassed me. So they call me from time to time, or I'll see them, getting promoted and they post it, and I'll chime in and tell them I'm proud of them. So yeah, there's some soldiers that you will build lifelong relationships with. Like I'm gonna give an example. I'm gonna give a shout out to my friend Dennis Perez. He was my lifelong battle, and when I say battle, means partner, in Iraq, and we are friends to this day. He lives in California. I live here in Pennsylvania, and we just built a lifelong friendship. He's more than a friend. He is a brother.
Oh,
So
that's nice.
you build really good friendships.
What made you decide to leave? Had you done your time, or how does it work?
Well, how does it work? You're obligated. You have a contract, and what happens is you can. Well, when I first came in, you had an option to pick how many years you wanted to sign up for, but initially you're signed up for 8 years.
Okay.
And once you're,
Is that like a minimum?
yeah, that's the minimum.
Okay.
And what you do is once you fulfill that obligation of the 8 years, then they let you go and they give you a nice certificate of honorable discharge, meaning that you've done your service, and you know what I mean. They give you a nice little certificate, which is up on my wall, and you've done. And you know, if I wanted to come back, that's the only way I would be allowed to come back is if I volunteered or if there was a draft of some sort.
Okay.
I don't know if I would make the age requirement, but even so, if there was a draft, I wouldn't even let them draft me. I'd probably just go and handle business. But
If there was a draft, as you call it, I take it that means if there was a war, they'd call people. That's when they call people.
well, a draft is if there's a shortage of
Okay.
soldiers, um, and you know the war was still going on, and there was a shortage of soldiers. So what they would do is they would, to my knowledge, to my understanding, they would call a draft, and they would either call you alphabetically or numerically by your social. So,
But would you be considered more than likely to be picked over somebody that's never been in the military before because you've already done it, or does it not work like that?
I couldn't give you that answer. I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I kind of look at it as if I was called upon to go back, I wouldn't hesitate.
Okay.
You know, I feel strongly about my military family and protecting my country. I felt very strongly about that. So, being said, if worse come to worse and they would have to call a draft or anything like that, I most likely would probably go back and
Is
do
there
what.
any reason why you didn't stay longer?
Um, I just think that my opinion is just I think I done my service. I think at that point in my time in my life I was just looking for something new. So I figured I fulfill my obligation and go on and do something else with my life. So that's why I chose not to stay.
And do you think like it should be compulsory? Like in some countries, like I know, say when I went to Egypt, boys have to do a minimum of 2 years when they leave school. They have to go to the army for 2 years. Um, do you think that that should be the case everywhere? Do you think it would help like youngsters?
You know what? I actually think that would be a great idea. I think also, I feel as though if you don't have a plan or a direction in your life, I think military is the way to go. Uh, that being said, you like save 2 years. Okay, I'm just going to give a ballpark example. I've been out for a while, so I can't really remember. But if you did 2 years, okay, you do 6 months basic training. You do 6 months of your actual learning the trade that you want to do. I'm gonna use my trade, 88 Mike, which was transportation. So then once you do that 6 months, that's a year already gone. So then you have an opportunity to do what you've trained for and practiced for that year. Now, if you don't like it, then you know you fulfilled your obligation. You go home. And I think the benefits of that is that you have some discipline, you have a little bit of direction, and you have a trade under your belt. So it's not like, getting out of school and still trying to figure stuff out. You know what I mean? And two things come out of it. If you like it, then you stay. You sign up, you stay, make it a career. If you don't, like I said, if you don't, and the 2 years is up, and then you would get out and again have the discipline, you know what I mean? And you would also have a trade under your belt. So you have some direction. So I think the United States would benefit from it a lot. I think it would. But
I mean, it is good to speak to somebody who's actually, I mean, I know people that have been in the RAF, or like my uncle was in the army for a while, but I've never really spoke to them in depth. And obviously I'm the mother of a son, so I just always think, God, how would I feel if my son says one day, actually, Mom, I'm going to the army and I'm going to join and I'm going to go to war? I would be devastated. Obviously it's 10,000% his choice, and it's his life. He can, if that's his choice, that's his choice. But obviously my heart would break a little bit, because obviously we just have what we see on telly, which is not great.
Well, I'm going to tell you something about the media. Drama sells, excitement sells. I spent a year and a half over in Iraq, and I kid you not, my father was scared to death because he saw all the explosions that you see on the news. You see all the IEDs, the rocket propelled grenades. You see, Humvees flipped over. You see black smoke everywhere. That's just maybe 5% of actually what it is. And you don't really see the positive part when it comes to military. Yes, military can be gruesome, it can be, but there's a lot of good that comes out of it. A lot of rebuilding stages they don't show you. They don't show you how you're helping the people within the community that you're, that, things go down. And so I look at media when it comes to the military. I honestly think that they shouldn't film those type of things. You know what I mean? I feel like if a war goes on, it should be left as war, and it shouldn't be glorified or used as ratings. I look at it. I think it's sometimes war can be misrepresented. You know what I mean? So I look at
that's
that.
The media as a whole, unfortunately, though, with everything.
Yeah, that's the media as a whole. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. But let me ask you a question. Since I told you our branches of service, break down your branches of service. Like I said, we have Air Force, Marines, Navy, and the U.S. Army.
Just the ones I've already mentioned that I know, and everyone will have to forgive me if we've got some that I haven't mentioned, but we have the Army, Navy, Royal Air Force, the Marines. As far as they're the ones that I know of.
Mm-hmm.
My sister used to go to cadets when she was younger, like at some little Marine thingy down the road. I mean, she didn't last very long, but even at that point, I remember thinking, God, that's not something I want to do.
Well, military's not for everyone.
Okay, the reason it's probably not for me, and I know that we've spoke that we will do a whole, we will elaborate on it a lot more in a normal show, because this is just a little ad hoc to pay respects. But when you say, I know you say about the news and the media being fake and stuff, but when you see people literally just screaming in your face, I'm like, God, there's no way I would want that, or I'd probably get in so much trouble.
That's a small part of, that's just training. That's just to I guess get you out of your your normal routine. You know what I mean?
I'd just cry every time if someone shouted at me like that. I'd just be
that's
crying.
only basic training. And if you come from to me, it just depends on the person itself. And like I tell anyone who is going into the military or deciding to go into the military, do your research. And one thing I tell everyone, if you were to go in, you know what I mean, and you don't like it, military is what you make of it. So that means if you go into it with an open mind and you go for it for what you want to do for your life, it's going to benefit you. Even if you don't like it, it's going to benefit you somewhere in your life as far as discipline, a trade, a sense of direction. But if you do decide to stay and make it a career, make it the best career you can make it. Because military as a whole is what you make it. It's not what your family's done. It's not, if you come from a military family, it's not what your father's done or your grandfather's done or your great grandfather's done. It's what you put into the service that you sign up for.
Well, we will tag the mission 22 in our new Instagram page. Feel free to go and follow us.
Yes, yes.
It's been a complete eye-opener, really, for me anyway, and I can't wait for when we do like a whole show on your experiences, because obviously you've seen stuff firsthand and you can answer these questions, which is really great. But I'm going to give you the last word. What you want to say, obviously, to the people, to our fellow.
Like I said, I just wanna thank everyone who decides to check us out on this day, Veterans Day. I just want to say thank you for your service here and abroad. And I know we've lost a lot of people the last, couple of months, not even during wartime, but, with this whole COVID. So I just want to say, again, thank you for your service. And I hope you guys have a great Veterans Day.
Okay, well, before we tell everybody again who we are, I just want to say thanks to you, Rich, for your service.
Thank you very much. Yes.
No problem. So, who are we?
So this is Soph.
This is Rich.
And we are from
across the pond.